Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the first video edition, if you will, of discussing anything that's on my mind. You may have heard some of my audio ones, but this is the first time I'm going to try to do a little video one. Now, first of all, I want to discuss something that some of you may not know about. It's a semi-new video format and source. I recently discovered this past week, if you will, because out of curiosity I went on to megauploadforum.net to see if maybe somebody had perhaps a promotional, if not a screener version, DVD wise, of Disney's Tangled. I was just curious, and when I saw what they had and then I saw something that said PPV RIP, it kind of caught me by surprise. Like, what is PPV RIP? Now, first I should have known that, PPV RIP, PPV of course stands for pay-per-view. But then it hit me that if this is pay-per-view, how did it get on there so soon? And why wasn't it advertised on Comcast? Well, I'll explain why, folks. It seems that the pay-per-view that had Tangled is only available to people of the high-class caliber. In other words, it's only available in those high-class hotels and motels, those high-class airlines, those high-class child centers, things like that. Basically places where you got to spend an arm and a damn leg. That, my friend, is where these sources are available. Now, I can understand if Disneyland, places like the Disneyland Hotel or Disneyland California Hotel or even Disney World hotels and motels have the pay-per-view source, which allows you to watch a movie like Tangled while it's still in theaters and getting ready to go into transition of heading to home video. I can understand that, but what I can't understand is how another hotel that's probably not Disney related did it. Well, apparently from what I read, like I said, these are just in high-class areas. Some are here in the United States, some, of course, are in other countries. Now, the version of Tangled, and that I don't have on me, wait a minute, hold on for a second, but the movie version that I have, is the PPV RIP. But this one, excuse me for taking off there for a second, I had to go in the rec room and get it. But this one, right here, ladies and gentlemen, came from obviously a Portugal. I'm not saying it was Portuguese, but it looked like language-wise a Latin or Portugal-related hotel or motel pay-per-view source. Now, does that mean that the movie's all in Portuguese or Latin? No. It just means it's in English, but with things like, say, the wanted picture of Flynn Rider at the beginning of the film, to the Walt Disney Pictures Presents, to even the title itself, you have these little subtitles, I think, in the Portuguese language. And that's about it. But another thing that makes me realize this is not that this is sort of a pay-per-view RIP is that even though this copy right here is made by Windows DVD Maker and this one is off my DVD recorder, there are what I consider mini nanosecond stoppages or glitches, which I'm pretty sure will not happen or occur in the official release on the 29th of March, which I will still get because I made a promise to my family that I would, as well as the fact that I want to prove to my family, certain members that is, that I don't always have to rely on a burned copy or renting a copy and doing it that way. I don't have to depend on that. But still, just by what I mentioned, I know this is not the official release, but the question is, how new is this format people talk about? How semi-new is it? Well, we all know about DVD screeners and promotional DVDs and VHSs and all that crap, if you will, that's common for people to gain access to. We've also heard that some people have inside help from those that work at movie productions, movie theaters and all that, and they can get copies like that. We also know that some of the more common ways of doing it is, like I say, probably with insider help. Take a HD camera or a camcorder into the movie theaters and record a movie. We all know that. We all know those kind of formats. In other ways of making your own copy. But the thing is, here's the difference. A promotional copy and a screener copy that are usually sent to reviewers, movie academies, sent to video distributors, sorry I pronounced it wrong. Video distributors, I can't pronounce it right now, but basically video retail stores and warehouses, also to promote that the movie is coming, or to review it and all that. I mean, unlike those usually have, like say, a little watermark at the end that says, please do not copy. I can recall when I downloaded the Blind Side, basically barely a month and a half after it was released in theaters. I did this because my mom wanted to see it and I wanted to give it to her as a Christmas gift. So that's what I did. The only difference was that it had the watermark on there. It said, please do not copy. So what did I do to make up for that? I rented the Blind Side when it officially came out in DVD, made a copy of it, and now she has it. Now, again, what I did by burning a copy through the DVD Fab 6 program or software, that's common. That's common to do. But again, it's not common to go out and have a movie like this all of a sudden just appear out of nowhere. It's not that uncommon. You know, it's not that common. I mean, even with Alvin and the Chipmunks 2, the Squeakquel, I looked at that, I scanned through that sucker, I fast forward through it, and not once did I see a watermark. Not once did I see any work in progress stuff. It was completely clean, and this was basically a month or so after it was in theaters. So honestly, I don't know how that happened, but it happened. So the question is, again folks, is how new is this format? Well, I'll tell you how new it is. A year and a half ago is when it started getting talked about on a site called rfdvd.com. It got talked about there. And not anybody, and the thing is, even though that was about a year and a half ago, or a little over a year and a half ago, still it is semi-new. Because you take a look at the list of movies on there, Tangled is joined up with movies like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, The Green Hornet, and a few others. It's not that big of a list, and it shows you how new this is. Now, will people take advantage of this? Of course they will. I mean, I did. But I'm not the one that went to a hotel, to this, whatever hotel it was this person stayed at, and recorded it with my PVR or my DVD recorder. No, I just took advantage of the fact that they downloaded it. Or they uploaded it onto Mega Upload. And thus on the megauploadforum.net. I just took advantage of it. And let me explain why I did. Just like probably some other people, I have some young kids in my family that like Disney. I have some young kids in my family that like Tangled just because of the character Rapunzel. So what better way when they come to visit and keep them busy than to show them the movie even before it officially comes out. I mean, I have family members, one of my sisters, as a matter of fact, said that her husband knows of somebody, or knew a friend that knew a friend, kind of like know a friend that knew a friend, basically one of my sister's husbands said he knew of somebody that knew a friend that could get them copies of movies, clean digital, almost DVD crisp-like copies of movies while they were still in theaters. That's the absolute truth. That is the truth, folks. I mean, they got movies like Death Race and another one I can't think of right now. But still, it's not uncommon for something like that to happen. But it is kind of uncommon to hear about a movie like this being ripped from a pay-per-view source before it officially even is on pay-per-view. But again, like I say, I can understand if it's like Disneyland hotel related, if they're being shown in the Disneyland hotels or motels, else in the Disney World ones as well as the Tokyo Disney ones and the Disneyland Paris hotels. I can understand all that. But what I can't understand is how another hotel around Portugal or wherever this is from got a hold of it. I mean, can you imagine the person walking in there with their family, and all of a sudden they're checking in for at least maybe a couple of days, maybe a week or so, and the clerk and the desk clerk gives you a list of what pay-per-view movies you could order if you feel like it, and one of them says Tangled. Can you imagine what your reaction would be if you were that person? You'd probably be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But again, that just shows you how uncommon it is. I mean, think about it. How would you feel? You're walking into a hotel, high class and everything, spending an arm and a leg to stay maybe a couple days with your family. You got your kids and all that. And all of a sudden, you get this list of pay-per-view movies you can order. And on the bottom of it, where it says Children's Family, one of the titles listed is Tangled. And again, you think, well, wait a minute, that don't make sense. So what do? You probably take the phone in your hotel room, call up the manager and say, there must be a mistake, you know. And you say something like, oh, there must be a mistake or something. I mean, how could Tangled be on here? And all of a sudden they explain to you, oh, well, we got this little agreement or this little source and all that. This little agreement or this, situation where we can actually do that. Or this privilege or something. It's kind of like, it's kind of like what the YT's doing right now. People like myself and others out there got the privilege of doing more longer videos than just 15 minutes. That's kind of what it feels like, because these people now have a privilege, because, that's what it feels like for these hotels and its customers. Because they probably feel like, hey, we got the privilege of watching a movie like Tangled without no problem. Yeah, you do. But can you imagine what goes through the minds of the people at the Disney Studios, the Walt Disney Home Distribution, the Walt Disney Pictures, knowing that this is happening unless they are in on it? It must be going through their minds. I mean, don't think, for example, that for a second they're not calling up megauploadform.net or calling up, finding out where this source came from. Don't think they're not doing that. Because they probably are, but if not, then they probably know. But still, it doesn't make sense. Because, like I said, think about it. It's common for someone to take a regular DVD movie, use a software like DVD Fab 6 or something similar, copy it, make their own little cover, and have it. It's common knowledge for someone to rip a Blu-ray or a DVD when it's first come out, or maybe a week or two before it officially comes out because it's a promotional release, or the fact that maybe whoever works at certain stores got copies of it, advanced copies. It's common to do it that way, so people can download it. I mean, I've done that with some of the Batman and Superman and Justice League movies over the past 2 years. But besides that, it's so uncommon to look at something like a pay-per-view rip, and know that that's not the official pay-per-view source you would get it from, but instead a special pay-per-view source that's really new. I mean, the people that reported this, ladies and gentlemen, even said it was new to them. And they still need more information. It's been a year and a half. And the only information they were able to get was the fact that they found out that it's shown, like I said, in the high-class lobbies, basically high-class hotels and motels. It's shown in high-class airlines, high-class day care centers, whatever. And you think to yourself, well, wait a minute, that just does not make sense. I know it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, and this is no offense, doesn't make sense to me how in the UK, the United Kingdom, they can have free access to a wrestling pay-per-view on a regular channel, yet here we got to pay about 39 to almost, basically almost $40 to $60 for it. I mean, that's what gets me. They get it free, we don't. But still, that's common for them. That's common knowledge for both sides. Like, okay, they can get it free, that's their right. Over here, we can't get it free because we got to pay for it. That's common knowledge. It's also common knowledge that someone that would watch the pay-per-view would record it, a few hours later, rip it onto their computer and upload it for people to download, whether it's in a whole or in 2 or 3 parts. That's common knowledge. That's common knowledge. But for the fact, but for something like this, in the other movies that I mentioned, like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the Green Hornet, for those to be in the same category, for those to be able to be watched in the comfort of your hotel room as if you're in the comfort of your own home, that, my friend, is not common knowledge. That's uncommon. So, tell me what you guys think about this whole pay-per-view rip deal. Well, you get these special pay-per-view privileges when you're in these high-class things. Do you think it's fair? Do you think maybe it should be stopped? I'm just asking. Do you think it, like I said, do you think it's fair? Because, I can understand if the IFC, the Independent Film Corporation, I think that's the name of it, has their theatrical movies aired the same day they come out in theaters on pay-per-view here. I understand that. But do you think it's fair that they are the only ones that can do this, but yet other people can't? Do you think it's fair they can do it? Do you think it's fair, like I said, for all these high-class places, hotels, motels, airlines, etc.? Do you think it's fair for them, whether they're located here in the United States or in other countries, do you think it's fair for them to have access to these movies before they officially are released to home video, to the home media market? Do you think it's fair? Because honestly, I don't think it is. I think they should wait, just like everybody else. But hey, let's look at it this way. It's on them. They're the ones that allow the customers to do it. So it's on them, and we're just reaping the benefits. That's all we're doing. Even if it's not the best copy, even if it has a few mini nanosecond stoppages or glitches, that's fine. Because we know that this is only temporary, and that when we get the official movie, we'll have this as a backup. But anyway, tell me what you guys think about that. Okay, tell me what you think. Now, another thing I did over this past week, in fact I will show you before, and I apologize for the bird, in fact I will show you in my room. What I also did this past week, ladies and gentlemen, is I hung up a few new pictures. Now, some of these I've had for a while, and one may catch you off guard. It's true. One may catch you off guard because, well, let's just say if you're a Sonic fan, it will catch you off guard. Now, up here, I added my senior athletic award, which I got back in 97, 98. That's basically for anybody that, this is basically for anybody that letters in football, or any sport. Then over here, I hung up my Scooby-Doo poster, which was one of the promotional posters, or posters that was sold to promote the movie when it first came out, almost 8.5 years ago. There you go. And then over here, I have this. I got this for $5 at the Apricot Fiesta, I think, last year. or the year before, and I just hung it up this past week. And then over here, like I said, this is going to catch you off by surprise. Yep, I have the cover, the gatefold cover, the first ever for Archie Comics, or any Archie comic, on Sonic 225 framed. Now it's not the cover. Now it's not the comic book, because the comic book hasn't come out, but it's the official release. And as you can see, it's the one that IGN posted. And the reason I framed this, ladies and gentlemen, is because I'm probably going to get 2 copies worth. I'm probably going to get 2 copies worth, if you will, of 225. One that I can frame and one that I can read. But anyway, that's what I've hung up so far. Now over here, I gotta go check up on something. Okay, gotta take care of that. Now, I'm downloading a Dragon Natural speaker. The reason I'm doing that is because one of my family members has to do online work, so online schoolwork, so I figured this would be a little easier for them. FedEx. And here FedEx was supposed to deliver that. Or deliver my comic, which I got today. But besides this, let me put you back up here. Alright. Now, besides that, I also added some new DVDs to my collection. Now, the first one is a DVD that I started last year in April of 2010. Actually, I started it on April 8th with the 2 Disney movie classics, Hunchback of Notre Dame and Hercules. Continued it on April 24th with Mulan, and didn't continue it until a week ago yesterday. That's right, a week ago yesterday is when I continued this. And I continued it. Well, actually, this is this is volume 1. I am so sorry. I'm supposed to be talking about this, but I'll get to that in a second. But this, like I said, I continued. I continued up until, like I said, I didn't restart using this again until a week ago yesterday, when I added Tarzan to it. Now, what was funny is, I don't know for how many months or weeks, but the disc was out of its jewel case. I kept it in like this little jewel case so it would be protected, but it was out of it. And even though I had a few little scratches and stuff, not real bad scratches, but kind of like little marks and all that, it still recorded very well. So after I added Tarzan, which was on the 6th of this month, on the 8th, I added the original 1986 airing of DTV Romancing, which is a Disney music television special which aired on NBC. Then on the 9th, I added Fantasia 2000, as well as The Princess and the Frog. And then on the 11th, I added the movie Tangled. Now I know you're thinking, why do I have Tangled here and I have it here? You're probably asking that. Well, let me explain. You see, this is recorded on nearly 14 hours worth of DVD. You see, my DVD recorder goes up to what is known as the ULP mode, which means almost unlimited long play length. So I was able to record Tangled to it. The only problem was, according to one of my family members, is it looked a little blurry. Like you can't really read the words. You can see the picture, but you can't read the words. So okay, I decided, alright, you want a clearer picture? Here you go. So that's why Tangled's on here. And then following Tangled, this is what's really going to get a lot of people. Following Tangled is for the first time ever, in over 20 years, 20 years today, in 21 and a few months, 21 in about September, October, November, December, January, about 20 years, for the first time in about 20 years last month, and for the first time in 20 years, 5.5 months this year, on this DVD following Tangled is the original uncut version of the Tailspin pilot movie Plunder and Lightning. That's right, the original uncut, with everything, with all the songs. I'm Gone, which of course is aired in the miniseries version. The Sky Pirate song, which I think is also aired in the miniseries version, maybe not. But, and most importantly, the song which many have said, many will probably agree, that if Walt Disney himself was alive, would be proud of it. And many would probably also agree that if Plunder and Lightning was in the canon of animated feature classics, would have been nominated back in '91 for an Academy Award for Best Original Song and probably would have won the damn thing. Home is where the heart is. That's right. The original is on here. It's no lie, folks. No lie. No lie whatsoever. It's on here. And then following that, we have Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue. So the reason I'm proud of it is because if you would have told me back in April of last year that Disney's 50th animated feature, which would have came out 8 months later, was going to be added on to this, basically about, at the time I put it on there, which was the 11th, about 46 days later, I wouldn't have believed you. No one would have believed you. If you would have told me I was going to add the uncut version of Plunder and Lightning, the pilot movie for Disney's Tailspin, which has all 3 songs in it, I wouldn't have believed you. But yet, here you go. It's happened. Now this one that I was talking about, that I held up earlier, is one I started in January. I started in January of last year, and on here is what I consider some mini movies, if you will. Some mini movies. Now check this out. The first one on here is Bonkers, New Partners on the Block. This, of course, I consider the sequel to Going Bonkers, the 2-parter Going Bonkers, the pilot movie, if you will. Then following that, we have Gargoyles Awakening. Now, the Awakening movie from Gargoyles, in case many of you don't know, here's a little trivia. Here's a little trivia. The Awakening movie was actually seen in select theaters on one-night occasions. That's no lie. Excuse me for a second, I gotta let my dog out. But like I said, that was seen on almost for one-night occasions at selected theaters. Again, that is no lie, folks. No lie whatsoever. And then following that, we got Hunter's Moon, which I guess you could say is the series finale to the original Gargoyles before they went to the Goliath Chronicles. Then we have the 2-parter from Aladdin, Seems Like Old Crimes. Then we have the 2-part series finale to Gummy Bears, King Igthorn. And then we have the mini-series version, not the original uncut, but the mini-series version, which is also included on the box set of Plunder and Lightning from Tailspin. So there's that. And then here we got what I consider the best of Disney's Bonkers DVD. And on here we have Going Bonkers, the pilot movie, uncut original version, the original uncut version. We have New Partners on the Block, which again, like I mentioned on the previous DVD, is I consider the sequel to Going Bonkers. Then we have Casa Bonkers, which I consider one of his best episodes, as well as a few music videos, aka fan vids, that I made. So that is what I've done over the past week. But again, ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think about this whole situation where people can get a movie like this while it's still in theaters or in the transition to going to home video. Tell me what you guys think, because I still find it a little ironic. And comment on anything else I've said in this first ever video version of discussing anything on my mind. Tell me, comment down below. I would appreciate it. So that's all I'm going to say for now. Again, tell me what your thoughts are on everything I mentioned, and I will talk to you all later. Have a good Monday. See ya.